My boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend the one time they were left alone. I, 19F, just discovered my boyfriend, 27M, cheated on me right before Christmas with my best friend, whom was like a sister to me, also 19F. My boyfriend and I have been in a relationship for a little over 2 years and we've been through a lot. Mostly good and some bad, but we're always there for each other no matter what. He's sweet, affectionate, and gets along with literally everyone he meets. My best friend, who's been in my life since we were 14, have been through a lot together as well. We went to middle school together, met each other's entire families, laughed and cried together, struggled together, helped each other in very tough situations, been to jail together, just been by each other's side through everything. Even though we have our share of fights, she's the one that ends up forgiving easily and hates us being mad for even a little bit. Anyway, I made this discovery some days ago by accident when the sex actually took place just 2 days before Christmas when I asked my boyfriend if he can give my best friend a ride home from a graduation party while I was working overnight. I'm not the type of girlfriend that will keep tabs, so once I learned she was picked up from him, I put my phone down and continued working without texting them. Nothing unusual to me. When I got home, he was already there waiting for me. He was his usual loving and sweet self, kissing me and holding on to me. After that day, my best friend started to act a bit unusual, asking about my boyfriend more often, being extra giggly and cheesy when he comes around, showing much more skin than usual when he's with us. I thought it was weird, but didn't think anything happened. Fast forward to some days ago when I was hanging out at my best friend's family's house. They were celebrating her brother's 22nd birthday and she was outside mingling with her family. I was going in and out as I was pretty drunk and decided to take selfies on her phone, which is something we do commonly when drunk. I take a few selfies, put the phone down and go outside, come back in and take more. When I was done, I decided to send the pictures to my phone number from hers, where I clicked the messaging icon on the photos option and was about to type my name to send. Me and my boyfriend have names of the same letter, so to my surprise, after typing letters Joe, his name popped up under mine. I was shocked because I never knew of them exchanging numbers. I felt a flash of heat and adrenaline slap my body as I had a bad feeling already. I canceled sending the pictures and thought about going to the message thread to see what was being said between them. I find no messages at all but find 4 videos sent from her to what I believed was my boyfriend's number. I shiver as I'm already seeing his face, blindfolded in a thumbnail of one of the videos. While no one's around, I decide to click them in order, which I regret and made me sick to my stomach. First video, my boyfriend is blindfolded while she is not. The phone is propped up against something and is recording them do everything. They're making out with no clothes on while she's grabbing his junk, and he's literally tugging on her bare nipples. I can't believe what I'm seeing and tear up already. I peek at the other videos, which seem to be getting more explicit than the previous. My mind races with adrenaline, and they're doing everything imaginable. They look like 2 sex animals that haven't had sex in forever and are going at it like if they've been waiting forever to do this. I'm obviously hurt, shocked, furious, unsure of what to do, so I leave the party while she isn't looking. I blocked both of them and my boyfriend is still calling me from random numbers, crying hysterically, asking what's wrong and will I talk to him. I honestly don't think he knew she recorded their encounter, being that he wore a blindfold in the first 2 videos and the phone looked like it was hidden behind something in the others. I also had found out the conversation thread with my boyfriend's name was actually her own phone number when I called the number. It was a voicemail setup thing, so I knew it was her own number. I'm guessing that's where she had the videos hidden instead of her actual gallery. Anyway, I am unsure of what to do. Of course, I'm breaking up with him since this is some deep betrayal I can't forgive. Like how to confront my best friend about it, or if I should. Part of me wants to jab her right in the noggin. How should I go about this with both my boyfriend and my supposed best friend?
I am a widower who started dating. Girlfriend wants to visit my wife's grave and I have conflicting feelings about it. I, 29M, lost my wife 3 years ago. Started dating again, and new girlfriend, 32F, wants to visit my wife's grave. I am one of many who lost someone in that day in 2020. She was my world and we had our future all set up. She wanted children too by 2021, and then she was gone. I felt I had lost all sense of purpose and after an agonizing year, moved away. Not too far, but not close either. I didn't feel like I could breathe in that town. Still, every Saturday I get back and visit her resting place. I just functioned for about 2 years. I am not depressed or anything like that, but I just functioned. Until I met who we will call AITA last year. We started talking and hanging out together. She can be a bit haughty with people she doesn't know well, but I was surprised to find out how sweet and kind she is under the ice. She gave me something to look forward to again. She likes to do most of the talking herself, which is fine with me because I never know what to say. She knows everything about my wife and this didn't discourage her. She knows I am doing therapy and still mourning, but she never left me alone. I asked her to tell me if anything I do or say makes her feel uncomfortable or like she's not a priority. She said that as of now, I am doing nothing of the sort. She knows what I do every Saturday morning and never objected to it. But today she said she would like to meet her, as in accompany me in visiting her grave. I feel conflicted about this. On one hand, I respect and feel touched by her wish. On other, it feels weird for a guy to take the new girlfriend where the first wife is buried. How should I approach this? Is it too soon? Should I ask her to wait for that?
My 24F friend, 25F, isn't inviting me to her wedding because of my disability health issues. I don't want to end the friendship, but I don't know how to move past this. Am I being ridiculous? I have been friends with this person for almost 7 years. We met in college when I was a freshman / she was a sophomore. We keep in contact pretty much daily via Snapchat. It's kinda dumb, but we have a streak that's over 2,000 days long. Though we've been having fewer actual conversations over the past couple of months, especially since her engagement. I noticed that she seemed kind of distant after she got engaged, but I assumed that was because she was finishing up medical school. She also texts less when she's with her fiancé, so I'm guessing they must have moved in together around this time. I gave her space, but I would occasionally reach out to ask how she was doing, and I noticed that the conversations have all been pretty one-sided. She doesn't ask me how I'm doing anymore, and at this point it feels like she only sends me things for the streak. After not hearing anything about the wedding, I reached out and asked her a general question about her wedding plans. I did not necessarily expect an automatic invite, especially because I hadn't heard anything for months. I just wanted to show interest in her life and all, if that makes sense. At that point, she told me that I am not invited because of my medical issues. I had a minor stroke over a year ago, and I have simple partial seizures, no loss of awareness or anything. I also use a wheelchair, but I'm fully independent and I take care of my body. I guess she had a cousin whose wedding got derailed because an aunt had a pulmonary embolism on the flight over. She said that they discussed inviting me and traveling with me. The wedding is overseas in France, but they decided against it. I met with her the other day, and apparently she asked everyone invited to see their doctor to make sure that they're healthy. What I don't understand is, if she supposedly considered inviting me, why didn't she just ask me to talk with my doctors about my ability to travel, rather than making that decision herself? I understand that she's gone through medical school, but she's not a specialist in urology, cardiology, etc., and she's certainly not well versed in my medical history. Let me be clear, I fully acknowledge that I am not entitled to an invite to her wedding. I can see her reasoning, and I know she has OCD, and that she's probably anxious and trying to control as many variables as she can. I just can't help feeling deeply wounded by her rationale. My insecurities are my problem, I know, but I can't look at her without thinking about how inadequate I am. I've felt like a burden for my entire life because of my surgeries and health issues, and this situation just reminds me that I'm too much trouble to deal with, and that I'm not worth it. Again, my anxieties and insecurities are not her problem. I'm probably selfish for making this about myself, but it hurts deeply. I can't figure out if it'd be cruel to distance myself from the friendship entirely, or if I'd be a pushover by acting like everything is okay between us. It would have hurt less if she had told me that the wedding is close friends and family only. I find myself doubting whether she considers me to be a close friend at this point. When she told me all of this, I expressed my feelings as well as I could without being accusatory. It sucks that we use Snapchat to communicate because I can't go back and reread the conversation. The initial explanation was also unclear and unintentionally hurtful, which made things worse. I made sure to express that my insecurities are my problem and that I am not entitled to an invite of any sort. When she explained the bit about the dead aunt and being wary of inviting certain people based on that, I told her that I could have talked to my specialists about traveling if I had been given further notice. She basically said something like, "This is what we decided, and I'm sorry if that hurts." It wasn't as harsh as that, but she was blunt about it in the end. Once again, I am not entitled to an invitation to her wedding, and I would never intentionally try to make her feel guilty. I just feel incredibly wounded, and I don't know that I can consider her a close friend anymore. I've been pushing myself to keep in contact with my friend, and I've met with her twice since the initial Snapchat conversation about the wedding, but it still hurts deeply and I can't look at her in the same way as before. She said that they will be having a party in the States for friends who aren't invited to the wedding, but at this point I don't even want to go to that. I know that might be selfish of me. Am I being ridiculous? The fact that my health issues are supposedly too much of a burden to warrant an invite to her wedding cuts so deep that I can't look at her without feeling hurt. I've been trying my best not to personalize this, but I'm genuinely struggling. Should I bring the conversation up again? Or should I give her my best wishes and keep her at an arm's length from now on? I posted something about this situation in another subreddit, but after 2 weeks I panicked and deleted the post. I think the comments are still visible in my profile. I added more information in this post, so you're not missing anything.
My 33M wife 34F's ex just died. He left a kid who isn't biologically either of ours. How do I talk to my wife about taking the kid in? So after reading through as many comments as I could, I was even more nervous than ever about talking to my wife. I was also even more convinced that this was a conversation I needed to have sooner rather than later. I also tried to get more information about Levy's situation and why no one could take him from my wife, and according to Kara, Levy's mom emigrated from another country and doesn't have any family here. One of her ex-parents is in aged care and the other is unwilling for some reason. As for the rest of his extended family, I don't know and neither does she, but she did say that he's no contact with most of his family and has been disowned by a fair number of them. Someone may reach out in the future, but it seems unlikely. Last night, Charlotte was over at her friend's house for a sleepover, so Kara and I had dinner alone together. I started by bringing up how lonely I thought Charlotte was and how glad I was that she was feeling well enough to go over to her friend's house. Kara agreed, and I basically got straight to the point by saying how I thought that she'd feel better if she could spend time with her brother, and asked if she might consider taking on Levy as a kinship foster. Kara looked thoughtful for a minute before tentatively agreeing. We're going to be taking steps to see about taking him in, and at the very least setting up visits so that the siblings can see each other. This is a huge weight off my shoulders, knowing that she doesn't present a little kid for her relationship with his father, and that she was able to have a rational conversation regarding a topic related to her ex. The last time we had a conversation about him, I'd accidentally used a phrase that her ex used a lot during their fights, and she got triggered by it. She ended up storming out and staying at a hotel for the night so that she could calm down. She's a lovely woman. I know it might not seem like that from my posts, but she really is. She got a really toxic and borderline abusive relationship, which almost resulted in her losing access to her daughter. So I hope that y'all don't think of her as a monster, but as a loving wife and mother with some trauma that she's trying her damnedest to work through with the support of her therapist and myself.